not content with tormenting colleges that say they believe in free speech, but then systematically violate it, Adam moved on to a position as the program officer for higher education at the Charles Koch Foundation, which might be described as one of the warmer of the hot seats in American education. Coincidentally, the national campaign to uncoke my campus started soon after Adam arrived and quickly spread around the country. That campaign aimed, as its proponents like to put it, at ending the corrosive influence of dark money in higher education. Well, I can testify how dark that money really was because the NAS kept applying for it, and it was so dark we never saw it. But Adam did his best. He encouraged our many attempts, and what came with that is he introduced us to a young man, Chris Kendall, who is now our Chief Development Officer. Chris had been working at the Koch Foundation too at that time. And Chris and Adam go way back when Adam was laid up with I think it was a back injury. I think it was Chris's job to ferry him around back and forth and take care of Adam's enormous black Labrador. Is that right? I think so. Well, from a dispenser of dark money, Adam then moved perhaps to the one remaining job in the United States that would cast him in even more villainous light in the eyes of the higher education establishment. He went to work in the Trump administration as Deputy Assistant Secretary for Higher Education Programs, etc. Essentially, this means that he does oversee the numerous programs through which the Department of Education funds colleges and universities, and as we've just heard, exerts malign influence over much of American higher education. Adam has authority over the various boondoggles, giveaways, and progressive piñatas that the previous administration put in place. Well, I'm speaking loosely. There are many worthy programs, I'm sure, that require good oversight to ensure that they serve the national interest and not just the eagerness of colleges and universities to stuff more and more federal support into their hungry maws. Adam's appointment to this position in June 2017 occasioned a lot of worrisome articles in places like the Chronicle of Higher Education, which headlined its story, Koch Foundation Officer, a critic of Title IX guidance, will join the Education Department. Shivers were heard running up and down the spines of college administrators across the country, and dire consequences were expected. Adam, I'm still expecting them. Deliver. Of course, under Secretary DeVos, the Department of Education has taken some vigorous steps, including the rescinding of the egregious Dear Colleague letter on Title IX and the withdrawal of half a dozen other advisories encouraging colleges and universities to employ racial preferences in violation of the Constitution. I would like to think that Adam has had some opportunity to talk these matters over with his DOE colleagues. Be that as it may, he's an official in a federal department that is actually making some headway against government higher education's behemoth. Now, one oddity of having a government official speak to us is that he will measure his words carefully, but he will not take questions. So you will have to either embrace him in private and see if you can pry an answer out of him that way, or we can make up our own answers. But anyway, please join me in welcoming Adam Kissel.
Thank you very much, Peter. I am grateful to the National Association of Scholars for having me here tonight. I've known Peter, I think, 12 years now, since my job even before FIRE, when I was at the Intercollegiate Studies Institute, and Steve Balch probably 20 years, and the folks from the Illinois Association of Scholars about 20 years. So I've been a fan of NAS for quite a long time. I'm a life member of NAS. Once they made that an opportunity, I took it because I thought, I'm young enough, it's going to be worth it for me to be an NAS member for life, and these issues are not going away. So it's a pleasure now to be on this side of the podium after a generation of being on the side of illustrating the problem, now hopefully being part of the solution. So Secretary DeVos has a strong and thoughtful higher education agenda. It's not just to get government out of the way, but to have proactive things we are doing. It's a pleasure to share much of that agenda tonight. And a phrase of the idea is to rethink higher education. So that means challenging old assumptions, expanding choice for students and others, and especially respecting the institutional academic freedom of institutions, the autonomy of